Have you ever wanted to just try starting seeds, but you were just so overwhelmed and you were worried about the cost, the maintenance, and the entire process overall? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you a low cost, low maintenance, super easy and economical way to start seeds. So come along. So if you haven't guessed by now, today I'm going to talk about winter sowing. Basically, the concept of doing winter sowing is creating a mini greenhouse that you put out in your yard. Some of the key benefits of winter sowing is it creates hardier plants, it's economical, and it's also space saving. It creates hardier plants because your seedlings will not require hardening off and they're already acclimated to outside. And as far as space saving goes, this entire process is done outside. So you don't have to worry about having grow racks or lights or heat mats or any of that stuff. And it's pretty budget friendly too, for the same reasons I stated before. You're basically going to use any kind of container, whether it be a milk jug, any of your take-home containers from restaurants, and that eliminates buying all this stuff. So basically, it's pretty economical. So let's talk about what you're going to need to actually start winter sowing. You're going to need some kind of container, and let me get some examples of what I use. So the most common container people use is milk jugs. Just like this, an old milk jug. These ones desperately need to be cleaned out before I use them. But the other thing you can use is something like this, something that you get. What was this? This was a salad from my local store. What you want to make sure you have on your containers is you want to put holes so it will drain properly. And you want to make sure to try to take off some of these stickers because you want the sun to be able to penetrate. That also stands for with the milk cartons. You want to make sure that you take off the lids so water can get in, so they can be properly watered. Same thing with this, you want to poke a whole bunch of holes in it so water will drip in. The other thing about starting winter sowing is you definitely want to use a good quality potting mix. You don't want to use a seed starting mix for this because seed starting does not have the nutrients that will get your little babies through the whole season. So, but a good quality potting mix will. I'm laughing because I can't seem to get that sentence out, guys. I'll probably edit it out, but yeah, good quality potting mix. Anyways, a good quality potting mix and not a seed starting mix. The seed starting mix just does not have enough nutrients to get your little seedlings from germination to growth. And the last thing you're going to need is like a good pair of scissors or a utility knife or anything, or a drill, just so you can cut the containers and poke holes. And that's it, guys. Anybody can try this. Now, as far as placing your containers outside, you want to find a sunny location. You want to make sure that they have access to rainwater. So you don't want to put them underneath an eave or a porch or anything like that. Otherwise, they won't get watered. And you want to start them anytime like mid-December and forward. You don't want to try starting these in November or something like that, because you get a few warm days and those little seeds might germinate and then the frost will come and kill them. It's just not a good way to start. You want to wait until you have a guaranteed cold weather stretch. And some of the best seeds to start by this method is your native perennials. They need the cold stratification anyways, and who doesn't love growing natives? Although I've never done it, many people do start their cold hardy vegetables like broccoli, kale, that kind of stuff in the winter sowing. I have never done that because I have always grown inside for the vegetables, but give it a try. If you want to give it a try and let me know in the comments how you do. You know, I'd be very interested to see. It's just something I've never pursued, but doesn't mean you can't. You can also grow annuals in winter sowing, but you're going to pick the cold hardy ones, the poppies, the snapdragons, the bachelor buttons, that type of thing. And I have grown all of those successfully in winter sowing. I don't do a ton of winter sowing. Like I see some of my friends on YouTube, they have like literally 70, 80, 100 winter sowing jugs. I don't have the room for that. I don't have the time, the patience. I love to grow so much indoors. I love the process, but it's not for everyone. So if this process isn't for you, winter sowing is a great way to start. So basically, you just set them out there and it's pretty much, they take care of themselves. You do want to check on them every once in a while, because if you notice, oh gosh, it's been 2 weeks, we haven't had any rain or snowfall, you might want to go out there and if they look really dry, give them a little water. That's one thing. And on the flip side, when it starts to get warmer, if you get that rare like 80-degree day in early April or late March, which sometimes happens here in my climate, rare, but it does happen, you might want to go out and just pop them open so they don't get overheated. And basically that's it for care. And then once you have your little seedlings and it's warm enough, you want to plant them out, you can pick them out individually and plant them in your landscape, or you can take like a whole clump or split the clump up a little bit and just clump them in spots. So if you're growing something like echinacea, coneflower, and you want to see those big giant displays of coneflowers together, you plant one coneflower and a lot of them, like by year 3, they might be like this big around. But if you want like that big clump of coneflower, you could take a clump out of your winter sowing and just plant them all together very successfully. I've grown lots of coneflowers this way, and my only regret is I did separate them and kind of plant them out. I wish I kind of grew them in a clump. And then the other thing about growing some perennials is sometimes you won't get a bloom on the first summer. So the first season, you might have to wait till next year. And that's especially true, I find, for some of the native coneflowers. It takes like a year in the ground before they really start to bloom out for you. But I found also the specialty coneflowers seem to bloom the same year. I don't know. I've had some really good success. One of my favorites was called, if I can find some pictures, I'll put them in. I think it's called Super Duper Paradiso, but it was a double coneflower, gorgeous pink color. I really love that. I want to grow some more of that. Okay, guys, so I have my milk carton. In this case, it was apple cider. I have a utility knife and I have a screwdriver. So the first step that you're gonna do is you wanna be able to have about 4 inches of soil in your container, 3 to 4 inches. You know, you wanna cut above 3 to 4 inches so you have enough room for soil. Then you're gonna leave the handle portion intact so you can use it as kind of like a hinge. I'll show you once we do it. So you just wanna cut with your utility knife all the way around, just like that. Just be very careful. These things are really sharp. So I'm just gonna kind of just stick it in like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now the hardest part of doing this is getting the labels off. I give up on taking the labels off and mine grow just fine, but if you want to be really perfect, you can try to get those labels off. What I do is if the label's on this side, I just face this side north so it doesn't get the sun. And I don't bother taking it off. All right. Just about like that. Maybe a little bit more on this side. And as you can see, once you have it cut, boop, that's how you can hinge it open. So if it needs air, it's too hot in there, you can just pop it open. All right, so now I'm just gonna fill this with some good potting soil. Let me grab some. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to put the drain holes in the bottom, guys. So what I do to do that, you can use a drill, there's different methods, but I just kind of poke some holes like this, carefully. And then you can even like make little slices in the corners here so it drains out. Like just on the edge like that, slice, slice, slice. Just to give that, so you don't have standing water in the bottom and have your roots rot. You don't want that. Okay, and then what I do to make the holes a little bigger, because when I use just this, it's kind of a narrow hole, I just stick a screwdriver or something through and kind of just twist it around to make the holes kind of more prominent. You know, 4, 6 holes, whatever, 8, whatever you want to do. You don't have to get too fussy with this. It's pretty straightforward. There we go, perfect. All right, now I can put the soil. Can you guys see me? Don't mind my appearance. I just came home from the gym and I said, if I don't do this now, I'm already late, pretty much. I mean, it is, what is today? February 12th, maybe? Okay, let's see. I already have some pre-sifted soil. It's a little damp, but I think I'm just gonna add a little bit more water because you want the soil, you want to start off with some moisture, right? So just add a little water. Where is my stir? If you guys could see the mess, I need to get organized down here. I need to get organized. I have stuff everywhere. I'm just gonna put a glove on and use my hands. Just mix that around a little bit. Guys, I finally bought a sifter. So I'm very happy with it. Let me just see. Maybe just a little bit more wet. And if you haven't started seeds before, good idea to sift the soil because even if you get a good quality potting mix, it's gonna have these big chunks in it. I mean, it's broken down leaf matter, broken down, you know, sticks and twigs. So you might end up with some big chunks. The only problem with that is sometimes if there's a little seed right under that stick, it might inhibit the growth. So it kind of helps to sift it, just to get the big chunks out. Or you can just go through, like I've been doing this for years and this is the first year I've used a sifter. I would just go through as I was going and pick out any big chunks I found. Okay, I might have moistened this a little bit too much. A good test is if you squeeze it, oh, actually that's good. You don't want water to come dripping out, but you want it to stay formed. It's hard because I have black gloves on, but see how it stayed formed? That's about the right amount of wet. All right, so I'm just gonna put some soil in here. Well, you want enough to have like 3 or 4 inches in the bottom. As I was saying earlier, my grow room is a hot mess right now. I have dirt all over the floor. I gotta do a good cleaning down here. Sometimes when I get really busy with seed starting, although I haven't done too much, but I have some really good germination, I tend not to stop to clean up. I just kind of throw everything everywhere. I have to say, being organized is not one of my strong suits, which is a challenge in seed starting because you kind of have to be a little bit organized. Like you have to know when to start things, right? So I try. I'm not gonna say I'm the best at it. So then you just want to tamp it down a little bit so it's firm but not packed down. All right, so just like this. That's perfect. Whoop, take gloves off. And then the other thing is I make my plant labels so I don't forget. So I just have these little plastic plant labels I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put them inside the container. You can, after you close it, just write on the container what's grown inside, but I like to reuse my containers, so I don't like to do that. If I do write on the outside, just so I can know what's in the container, I will write on the tape. So when I tape this all up, you'll see later on I'm gonna tape all this. When I tape it off, or I'll write it on the tape, or I'll write it on the label, but probably on the tape, so that way when I take the tape off, I could reuse this next year for a different plant and not get confused. So let's see, what should we grow first? Oh, I never even told you what we're gonna be doing. So as far as what I am gonna put in my containers this year, I'm not gonna do a lot of them. I'm gonna grow some green twister coneflower. This is a first, I've never grown this variety before. I'm gonna grow some Rudbeckia viviani. Never grown this before. And I have grown this before, Rudbeckia Sahara. I love this. This is a gorgeous, makes gorgeous fall bouquets. I got to do better about my fall bouquets, but I do love this one. Another one called Chimney Black-Eyed Susan. So I think I am going to grow all of these in winter sowing, and then I'm also going to do like at least a 6-pack under the lights here. I might try to see how they do. Like, do the winter sowing ones do better, worse, etc. Let's start with the coneflower green twister. So I'm going to read the back of my package to see how deep it wants to be. So it's going to be 1/8 of an inch deep. And if you were going to start these indoors, you want to start them like 6 to even 12 weeks before your last spring frost. So if I wanted to start these now, I'm late. If I wanted to start them inside. So we'll see how they do. But it also says, or you can direct sow in the ground about 2 weeks before your last frost. So this is pretty similar to doing that, correct? All right. All right, so I'm going to open this up. Why is this already opened? I'm like, why is this package already open? Because I put some in my freezer, guys. Look what I did. Boop, boop, boop. So probably these ones I'll grow under the lights, and the rest I'm going to put in here. I'm not going to do all of these with you because once I do one, you'll get the gist. Not that many seeds in here. Should I grow them all? I find like the more and more I've been growing seeds that I tend to just grow all of them, unless it's like 100 in the package. I'll just grow them all because next year I'm going to want to buy some more. So I'm just going to sprinkle these on top, kind of spread them out. And then I will go back and I will cover them with a little bit of soil because it says 1/8 an inch deep. You know what, guys? I don't know if I should save these or plant them all. My problem is too, I end up sowing so many seeds. I'm just making sure that I'm just poking them down to make sure they have good contact with the soil. I end up growing so many seeds and plants, and then spring comes and I have to plant everything, or spring or early summer, and I literally lose my mind. Last year was really bad with those 500 snapdragons. I don't know what I was thinking. So you can either place some more soil on top, or you can just take a pen or something and just push them under, which is what I'm going to do. Sorry for the bad lighting. Like I said earlier in my other videos, with my renovation, I lost my lights. know where they could go in this tiny little house, but they went somewhere and I can't find them. There we go. And then I'm just gonna cover it up. Either pinch it over or just cover it with a little soil. Press it down. I am gonna sprinkle a little vermiculite on top too. Just to help retain some moisture. Keep the algae growth down a little bit, hopefully. We'll see. It won't be warm enough for algae for a while. Guys, this year down the Cape, we got so much snow, and it has been so cold. I always talk about, oh my gosh, down the Cape, we get a snowstorm. We don't even bother shoveling because the next day it just melts. Not this time. It's been, what, 3 weeks? And we have like a foot of snow on the ground. You'll see when I go to place these out. I think I'll take them out with you. The label, guys. I almost forgot the label. And this was, what was this plant? Echinacea or coneflower, green twister. Look at the mess. Not neat. I am not neat. I'm just going to write green twister because I will know what that is. And today's date is 2/12. There we go. Just going to pop that inside. Right there. Now all we have left to do, so I just popped it inside like that. See? And all we have to do is just tape it up. So you can use any kind of tape. Last year I just used gift wrapping tape because I was at my other house and I didn't have any tape. And I don't have any, electrical tape is really good because it sticks well. I don't have any of that either, so I am going to use this, which is like packing tape, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape it up. It doesn't need to be perfect, guys. As you can see, it's not perfect. I just want to show you, this was like a fruit container. I think berries came in it or something. It already has little tiny, I don't know if you can see that, but it has these little slits already in it, all along the side. But I put a little extra on the bottom just so water wouldn't pool in the bottom. And then if it's not a milk carton, so it doesn't have a cap. So I just put a whole bunch of holes in the top to allow water to go in. I mean, I will check these to make sure they're getting enough moisture. The one thing I like about this is you'll be able to see the root growth through this clear container. So I'm kind of excited about that. So let me get this one started. Okay guys, I ran out of soil, so I'm just gonna show you how I sift. This is my sifter I bought. It just has a little mesh in the bottom. Just gonna dump some in. I usually like to use Fort Bees, but I haven't had a chance to drive off Cape yet and get some, so I'm using this Miracle Grow, which is I've never used before. Oh my gosh, guys. I just poured half that bag all over my floor. Not good. Yeah, so basically this is how it works. So what I go through is I go through and I crumple all the big chunks up. Now, unfortunately, this is a little moist already from the bag. So it's going to take a little longer to sift it. If it was dry, it would sift right through. Just shake and sift. That's it. And then you get this nice, clean soil mix. Okay, guys, look at all the debris that's left. See the big pieces? So if your little seed was underneath this big piece of bark here, how would it come out? You want to give it the clearest and easiest path to grow. So that's why I'm sifting. I just have to laugh at myself. I have to laugh at myself. I don't know how the other people do it and remain so clean. My hands are dirty. Look at my sweatshirt. I have dirt everywhere. What is my issue? I have my computer over here and I actually have dirt all over it. So luckily I have this little thing I'm going to brush it off with, but oh my gosh. My only concern with this container is, look at the distance between here and here. If my babies grow well and they get really big before it gets warm enough to open the lid, they're going to squish into the lid. That's why I like the milk jugs the best. But I'm going to give it a try anyways. Packing it down a little bit. I think I'm going to put the Black-Eyed Susan, the chimney in here. I forgot to show you the seeds on the coneflowers, but I'll have to show you another time. These are the Rebecca, the chimney. The only thing is these are so dark, I'm not going to see where I place them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one and then double it, bury it in. You know, I was thinking about the intro into this video today, and I never even introduced myself for my new viewers, which I have quite a few of. My name's Carol, better late than never. I garden here on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Zone 7B. And just a little bit about myself. I started this garden 4 years ago. Is this my 4th summer or my 5th summer? I can't remember. I think it's my 4th summer. I started with a complete blank slate. And besides the lawn and the irrigation for the lawn and the hardscapes, I planted every single thing in my garden. Everything from trees to shrubs to annuals to perennials. I also added drip irrigation to all my garden beds. Now my landscaper did do the irrigation in my lawn, but I did all the irrigation, and I have videos on all this stuff. In all my beds, I built a raised garden, a raised bed vegetable garden. Mr. Hubby, my husband, helped me do that. And he helped, of course, along the way. He's definitely helped me plant plants, especially like the trees and the shrubs. And he's dug a lot of holes for me. So he's really been integral to the garden too. I shouldn't leave him out. We also built a fence that goes around the entire vegetable garden. And it has an arbor and a trellis, which we also built ourselves. And then after my garden got destroyed by bunnies a couple of times, not my vegetable garden because that's fenced in, but the rest of my gardens got completely annihilated by the booming rabbit population we have down here. Mr. Hubby and myself built a rabbit fence. So it literally contains my whole back garden, and I have had not one problem with bunnies since. Now I love bunnies and they deserve to eat, but they have my whole front yard and woods all around me for anything they want to eat. But as far as my nice perennial beds and my vegetable garden, off limits. You know what I forgot to do, guys? See, when I get talking, I forget. I didn't even moisten the soil. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spritz it. Just give it a good drink this way and put it outside. When you're spritzing, move your seeds aside so you don't soak them. I've done that many, many, many times. So I guess what I mean is everything that we're doing is a learning process. I'm certainly still learning. And let me tell you, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Because sometimes I call myself the fumbling gardener because I do fumble a lot. And you will kill things, for sure. You will kill things. But you got to persevere and keep trying. But you will kill things, but you will also succeed. There's so much dirt everywhere. Chimney. Chimney? Is that what's chimney? 212. And the nice thing about this clear container too, I'll be able to see the label. Okay guys, this is my last one. I just wanted to show you what I did on this one. Is I actually split it in two because I wanted to grow 2 different kinds of Rebecca, and I don't need like 5 million of them. So I put Sahara on this side and Viviana on this side. And I just put like a plastic knife in the middle just so I can know. But of course, then I got confused. So I'm really not sure which side is Sahara and which side is Viviana. They're very different Rebecca, thank goodness. Sahara is like autumn colors, like browns and orange and that kind of brown, like, you know, the autumn colors. With Viviani is a bright, bright yellow. So I'll know when they grow, but I might have mixed it up. But I have my labels in there. And now let's go put these outside. So, as you can see, my beds are 12 inches high, We have had, this snow's been on the ground for about 3 weeks anyway, and usually down the Cape everything melts so fast. You can still, we have at least 6 inches still in the ground. Yeah, it's been interesting. At least it will insulate some of my plants. It might do damage to some and it might insulate some, so it's kind of a toss-up. I'm looking over there where my garlic is and I'm hoping it's okay. I put a thick layer of mulch over it, so I'm hoping it's good. But usually I put my winter sowing like right here because that way is south. And I want to place my winter sowing so the labels are not blocking the sun. This one doesn't have any labels, so fantastic. Now, when the snow melts, these might tip over. I'll have to come out and check them and make sure they're okay. Let me give you just a look around my garden in the winter. As you can see, this is the entrance to my vegetable garden. You can barely see the beds because they're covered in snow. Look at that. Crazy. My bench. It's insane. And I was panning you around to my perennials. My perennial border over there. My secret garden over there. There's a lot of mess around. My compost bins are over there. And someday I hope to put a greenhouse here. But as you know, we did a major renovation on our property, so we had to rebuild our patio. We added that whole addition there, so that's why the yard is kind of a mess like this. My water fountain, my fountain is over there, and it's just a mess. But we'll get to it as soon as we get the snow melt. So guys, that's gonna do it today on winter sowing. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you haven't already, be sure to tune into the video about our grow along. I'm growing the hashtag 2026 grow at home with Vita from Budget Gardening with Vita. If you don't follow her channel, follow along. And Roxana from Soil Margaritas. We're gonna get started on those seeds pretty soon. So check out that video, go get your seeds and grow along with us. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, get out there and grow. Bye. What the? I can't get it off. Oh. What? Why did they put labels on things?